when a 55-year-old woman who had lost her husband the previous year left home for what her children believed to be a normal outing. None of them would have ever believed that she would suffer a very terrible fate at the hands of 3 blood brothers, thereby rendering them orphans within the short span of 2 years after losing their father. What began as a routine day in Gwagwalada, Abuja, would soon become a nightmare that would haunt her family forever. But the truth behind her disappearance was far more disturbing than anyone would have ever imagined at the time. It involved a web of lies, betrayal, and a carefully planned cover-up that would eventually be exposed in the most shocking way possible. It all began on Thursday, May 14, 2020, after Mrs. Janet Ubonaya had left her home in Gwagwalada, Abuja, just as she had done countless times in the past. She was a woman of routine, someone who would only leave home for business, church, town meetings, or trips to the market. Her children knew her movement patterns very well, which was why what happened next would immediately leave them feeling very concerned. Thursday evening came and went, but Janet did not return home. Her younger child waited anxiously as the hours ticked by, watching the door for any sign of their mother. When the morning broke on Friday, May 15, and there was still no word from Janet, the panic began to set in. The children immediately sensed that something was definitely wrong. At around 8:30 in the morning, the children made a desperate call to their older brother, Jonathan, who lived in Kubwa within the same Abuja. He was informed that their mother had left home on Thursday and had not been seen or heard from since then. On hearing this, Jonathan immediately made his way to Gwagwalada, where he visited the Gwagwalada police station to file a missing persons report on behalf of his mother. After this, he and his friends drove through the roads from Gwagwalada to town, desperately looking for any clues about what might have happened to Janet. They checked for possible accidents, asked around the community, and followed every lead they could think of. But as Friday turned into Saturday, there was still no trace of the missing woman. Throughout this entire period, Janet's phone remained switched off. Friends and family members had been trying to reach her ever since the alarm was raised, but every call made to her phone went straight to voicemail. Saturday morning brought a terrifying development that would soon change everything. After a night of heavy rain, the family hoped that perhaps Janet had decided to sleep somewhere due to the heavy rain that fell that night. They continued trying to reach her phone, hoping that she would eventually pick up. Then, unexpectedly, the phone connected. However, the voice at the other end was not that of Janet. It was a deep male voice who answered to inform the caller that Janet had been kidnapped and that if they wanted her safe release, they needed to pay the sum of 5 million naira as ransom. Jonathan immediately contacted the police again, this time reporting that they were now dealing with a kidnapping situation. The kidnappers had reached out to the family for 2 days, after which they went completely silent and off-grid. The police began their investigation immediately by tracing the phone calls made to Janet's family. The trail led them to a group of siblings who had fled Abuja and returned to their home state of Imo. Police officers were deployed to the suspect's hometown in Imo State, where they arrested 3 brothers, 38-year-old Johnson Emmanuel, 31-year-old Gideon Emmanuel, and 27-year-old Success Emmanuel, all from the same parents. The main suspect, Johnson Emmanuel, was a welder by profession who also did CCTV installations. He had relocated from Port Harcourt to Abuja in 2018 and was the eldest of 7 children. Gideon was a panel beater who had been recruited by his older brother Johnson to help with the crime. He was arrested when police tracked down Janet's stolen vehicle, which had been taken to a mechanic workshop for alterations. Success Emmanuel, the youngest of the 3, was initially believed to be less involved in the actual crime, but was arrested as part of the investigation. During interrogation, Johnson confessed that he had lured Janet to his house in the Apo area of Abuja. He claimed that they had been communicating through Facebook for about 2 years and had developed some kind of relationship. However, this story would later be disputed by Janet's family, who insisted that their mother would never go into a relationship with him. According to Johnson, after Janet arrived at his place, he pleaded with her to spend the night, but she insisted on returning home. To achieve his goal of making her sleep over, he visited a nearby chemist shop to buy what he described as a sleeping powder. He added the powder to a drink and then served it to Janet. Unknown to him, the amount of powder he added to the drink was higher than recommended, thereby causing Janet to sleep and never to wake up again. When Johnson realized that Janet was dead, he panicked and called his younger brother Gideon for help. Together, they discussed how to dispose of her body. Gideon suggested that they should place the body in her car and dump it by the roadside, but Johnson was scared that they might be spotted and arrested. He then suggested that they should dump the body inside the soakaway pit behind his house, a plan that Gideon himself eventually agreed to. Together, they buried Janet in the pit and then proceeded to clean up any evidence of the crime. To avoid suspicion, Johnson decided to sell the entire property, including a one-bedroom flat and 2 self-contained apartments that were still under construction. He sold these properties at a giveaway price of 7 million naira. Once the house was sold, he relocated to his village in Imo State. After moving to the village, Johnson began plotting how to dispose of Janet's car to further erase any links to the crime. He took the vehicle to a panel beater to repaint it from green to red. He spent 45,000 naira on new registration papers, another 25,000 naira for a different number plate, and 40,000 naira for the repainting job. In order to transport the altered vehicle to the village without drawing any suspicion, Johnson reached out to a female police officer he knew. He lied to her that he had just purchased the vehicle and that he needed her to escort his brothers and the car back to the village. Johnson admitted that the female officer had no idea the car was connected to a crime. He also admitted that while his brother Gideon was fully aware of what had happened, their youngest brother Success knew absolutely nothing about the incident. According to him, he convinced Gideon to assist him in the crime by promising to give him money to start a new business. Johnson also confessed to using Janet's phone to call her family, pretending to be a kidnapper and demanding a ransom amount of 5 million naira. He said his intention was not to collect the ransom money, but rather to make it appear as though Janet had been abducted by unknown criminals.
I know Mrs. Jen, womanizing. Since 2 years now, we have been dating. Since 2 years. And I know her from Facebook. Because we have a source group. Ruben herself, and I saw her as a mother in Israel. So I've been chatting her. She don't know that I worship in the same church. We have been we started for 2 years. She played. So many times she needed me, she called me. She always come to my house. I'm not a kidnapper. This thing that happened to me, I don't really know. Anytime she came to my house, she always, after I stay with her, we will say finish, make love finish. She always go. When I ask her to pass her, she say she never seen pass her before. This one on 14th last month, she visited me. Then after she visited me, they called me at Abuja Junction. Really, I did that. This car was great. Anytime she will see, I'm always there. This car, she enter the other side. So really, we are going to say, don't want me to take me to the place. I should go to my house direct. I said, okay. So when we reach that place, first of all, I stay with her. We make love. And after make love, I wanted to go and buy. She like kids by the year. So I said, should I go and buy soup for? He said she have person. She can never eat any gari back. The same rice. I said, which kind of rice? Anything rice. So I went to shop point and buy that fried rice. She said, so I went and tell mommy, you are going to sleep here today. She said, she cannot, nothing can make her to shop person. She can never sleep person. So I said, okay. So when I buy that fried rice, I go to chemist, pharmacy, meet one of the chemist one. Then that my brother has injury. He can never sleep. I need a sleeping tablet that he can give me so I can grind it so my brother can sleep. He said there's 3 types of sleeping tablet. I say, give me the power pillow. He give me one of these. I say, when I get home, I buy that blended juice. I grind it. Then I grind it, I put all to that blended juice. Informally, if she came to my house, she always take 1 glass. So I put other this thing inside motor and go. Okay, that day, after she drank all this juice. When I came back that day, the second time, she was sleeping, but she's weak, she's alive. Then I come back the second time, I stay with her. make another the second way. So I went outside again. I came back to let me rest. So when I came back, she let me sleep. So in the night, to sleep together, the same thing. Early in the morning, I called her to come and go. She don't make any moves. I feel that she sleep. I went outside. So when I came back in the afternoon time, I confirmed that she's dead. So I was afraid that being on Friday. So not in the evening time, I reached to my brother. They don't know anything about this. I just think that happened. Everything is on my phone. Right? They don't know anything about it. I have to call this my brother. He disappeared. He say I want to see him. He said this is 10 o'clock after 9 p.m. Well, is it anything happen? So nothing. Just come down. You come immediately. Wow, really? Immediately he came to my house. I told him that somebody died in my house. He said, "You shake." He said, "Who is that person?" I said, "Somebody died." Before you read that place, I've already used the attack. I used her, cover her everywhere. But my brother said he can never try to do this. I should put her inside this motor and go and to keep your certificate with the family. I said, my neighbors, that place, the police are living there. Many prominent people, if they see me, I'll put to police. So it will be a problem. He said, no, say, hand is not there. I said, no, help me. So I forced him as a senior brother. He helped me to join that woman. So I really want to bring that woman as I then begin to fall in very strong way. Then I put that woman inside the soccer out of fear. That's why I did it. The lady how do me anything. She said, she should help me, she do anything for me. I don't know that she will die. I don't know that will take her life. She will die. I I never know this woman in person and I have never seen her before. But I remember one night my elder brother had called me that I should come to his house. I checked time, it was very late. I said, I hope all they say yes, I should come. I should run down, I should come very, very, very fast. I was thinking he's in trouble. And now to around that place. On his way, when I get to his domot, I saw one green Highlander parked. When I knocked, he came out. He was asking me, do I come in? I said no. It's okay, I should come inside. When I came inside the house, he locked the door. He went and he locked the door. He said, I asked him, what is the problem? What is the problem? What's happened? He said, his girlfriend died in his house. I said, when he said like yesterday. I said, oh. I wanted to go outside. He said I should come, that he don't want to involve anybody in this. He don't want anybody to know what's happening. He don't want the neighbors to know what's happening. I said, but why do you involve me? Why do you call me on phone? Why do you call me on an issue like this? What do you want me to help you do? He said he was taking since yesterday. I said, okay, boss, the only thing I'll suggest for you now, I'm your brother. I can't call police for you. I can't do anything. Now, why can't you, since you say you don't know what to do now, why can't you take this lady? Now, before then I asked him, who is the owner of who parked the motor there? He said the woman came with the vehicle. I said, okay, can you put this woman inside this vehicle? Actually, you can drive along this road. In fact, tomorrow morning, people can come to identify her so that you can be able to escape yourself from this issue. And when they saw her in vehicle, they would think something else. And I said, no, the neighbors will see him, this one and that one. I was just like, why did you call me this night for this issue? I was thinking, I said, okay, what do you want to do now? He said, he want to see if he can bury the woman on his own soccer way. So that is no idea. If you are doing a thing like that, don't involve me. So he was trying to plead. Even him, he himself was afraid, like, if I would start telling people, it's okay, that I should make sure after this night, nobody will know what happened. Nobody will know what happened. And I will not tell anybody. So I will not tell anybody. But should in case this involve tomorrow, you should not involve me because I know nothing about this. So when he went to the backyard, he opened the slab. That day when the rain started coming, I showed the slab from when he dragged the mat inside the soccer away, I ran out. Since that day, I've never entered that compound. Till today when I get there, I noticed that there is cement on the slab. After that very day. I know nothing about this matter and I don't have any hand in this matter. The only thing that linked me with the suspect was that when we arrived at the village, he kept on telling everybody that he has bought a vehicle and the vehicle is arriving. So that very morning, the vehicle has arrived to a particular junction, that I should follow him to go and welcome the vehicle. So when we got there, he told me that he was supposed to be balancing the woman 30,000 naira. But based on the fact that the woman who is escorting the vehicle has already picked up 3 passengers from the vehicle,
that he's not going to balance her exact amount he's supposed to balance. That he's going to balance her 20,000 naira. That I should be with the 20,000 naira so that I can give it to the woman. I asked him why. So that if you should give it to the woman, they will start arguing. I don't need much argument. I should be the one to give it to the woman. So I collected the 20,000 naira and stood at the junction there, waiting for the vehicle. A while, he called me that I should not stand at the junction, that I should look for a place where I can sit. I asked him why. He said so that I can be able to see them very well. With all cleared hands, I looked for a shop nearby. I sat down with the money. Not just 5 minutes after my wife called me, I just saw gunshots around and I was arrested. I was still asking, what did I do? What did I do? I was thinking maybe they came around to arrest cultists or armed robbers or whatever. Before I could know what is happening, I saw myself in a boot, I saw myself in Taga Bezowere, and I saw myself here in Abuja. That is all I can say about this.
Janet Nnenna Obonanya was a 55-year-old widow who had been struggling to rebuild her life after the loss of her husband. Janet had been married for 35 years before her husband passed away and was buried in May 2019, exactly 1 year before her own tragic death. Her son, Jonathan, came out to openly reject the claims that his mother was in a relationship with Johnson. The police also didn't believe that Janet had gone to Johnson's house for an affair. According to them, after Janet's body was exhumed from the soakaway pit, she was found to be fully dressed in a manner a woman who was visiting her boyfriend for an affair would not dress. The police believed that her death was carefully planned and executed by the perpetrators, who also took her vehicle, changed the color and particulars. Police sources also said that Janet, who wanted to go into the poultry business, may have met her killers in the process, as she would have been deceived into believing that they had something to offer in regards to her poultry business. On June 12, 2020, Janet Obonanya was finally laid to rest by her family in her hometown in Abia State. However, after the investigation was concluded and the suspects remained in custody, Janet's case gradually faded from public attention. The three Emmanuel brothers, Johnson, Gideon, and Success, were arrested and charged in connection with Janet's kidnapping and murder. But what happened to them after that remains unclear. The Nigerian justice system can be slow and complex, with cases sometimes taking years to reach a final resolution. Despite the clear evidence against the suspects and their own confessions, there has been no public update on whether they were formally charged in court, tried, or convicted for their crimes to date. Share your thoughts on this tragic case in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more true crime stories. Thank you for watching.